Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my hotel room at the Holiday Inn Express in Irving, Texas. This beautiful backdrop that I have for you today. I am in Dallas and I am preparing for a presentation to LULAC, the League of uh, Latin United Citizens. It's the oldest Hispanic community group that does a lot of really cool organizing and litigation. They were the ones that brought the first birthright citizenship plaintiff to challenge the birthright citizenship. So anyway, I'm here with LULAC in Dallas. They're doing a national event with immigration updates, and there's several lawyers here. We're doing a panel tonight and answering live questions. It's an in-person event, but also being streamed on Zoom. And because there's a lot of people who don't want to come out right now and come to immigration events, we are doing it live streaming. So I'll be streaming it live on my socials. So if you're here, you'll see it. And would love to have your questions. Oh, I just realized my coffee is propping up my phone, so I won't be having any coffee during this presentation. Well, as per the usual, what we do on these shows, this is our English show. It's Tuesday mornings. I'm here to give you updates on immigration and answer your live questions about what's going on in your cases, what's going on in the news, and I'll give you an action tip of the week. We'll be here for 30 minutes. That's it. So right before this, I had an interview with a radio station. I do a lot, as you all know, if you follow me, I do a lot of media, trying to get the truth out there because the rhetoric is so inaccurate about what's happening in immigration. I mean, I think when we talk about what did Biden really fail at, it was this piece. Biden really failed at the rhetoric. The Biden administration wasn't out there talking about what they were doing on immigration. They were just silent. They just didn't really want to be talking about immigration. But Trump has convinced millions of people that we are under an invasion and that people who entered the country illegally are ruining the country, and that the belief is very strong in this group of people, like incredibly strong, to the point where it really helps start explaining why the Holocaust happened in Germany. Those people were fed the same rhetoric, the same lies. And so anyway, I was just on this radio show that I'm on regularly, and it's a radio show hosted by two. I'll post the video of it, but it's hosted by two, hosts, broadcasters, whatever. And one of them is reasonable and friendly, and the other one's, conservative and sort of devil's advocate kind of thing. It works. But I'm noticing that, I'm sure, like a lot of you, I'm just running out of patience for the nonsense. So I kind of lost it on this conservative show that I was on earlier in the week, when the host was saying he's fine with separating families if they're seeking asylum. That's not the legal way. This is some newfangled thing. So I went off on him, and then at the end of that, I was like, well, that's the first time I've really actually yelled at someone. And anyway, something might be kind of breaking in me, because I just had another one, and this conservative talk show host, I was saying that what they're doing with these third country removals, sending people to South Sudan, sending people into torture camps in El Salvador, this is Nazi Germany. And this, there is no difference. This is where we are headed. We are headed in that same direction. And ICE, overseeing all of our data and accessing databases and all of that stuff. And the guy's like, well, not really. I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. And I was like, really? What's the difference? And he's like, well, to start off with, these people entered the country illegally. And I was like, and? So in Germany, if the Jewish people had entered the country illegally, would you have been cool with concentration camps? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? And I just and then he kept trying to talk, and I just wasn't having it. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, at the end of it, of my tirade, they were like, okay, well. So that's where I am these days. And I don't know, maybe their followers are going to come for me, but It's like I've had it. Like all of this nonsense, these lies. I'm sure you guys are here, so I'm sure you're with me, but like I cannot take it anymore. It's just so painful. And then to see up close what's happening in these families, it just makes you like lose your mind. And then people justifying what's happening to immigrants because somebody entered the country illegally. It's just like, really? Is that really what you're going to do with your human life? Is support that? You have a choice. Anyway, I'm on a soapbox. Okay, so let me get to what channel. Oh, Kate. I'll have to look it up. KX something or other in Brownwood, Texas. I'll post the video. I do, you guys, if you watch me when I do a lot of radio, but radio like is boring on social media. It's just audio. So I started doing my makeup and attaching it to my radio interview. So if you ever see a video come up of me doing my makeup, that means there's a radio show to listen to. So if you want to hear me yell it. I mean, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're like, it's like Sirius XM or, some sort of public radio. And those are like, actually, those are the harder interviews for me when I'm on these like really smart and thoughtful radio shows, because they ask like really specific and detailed questions. And I have to be like very up to speed and super knowledgeable. So sometimes they're those. And then sometimes, they're conservative. And I still think it's important to do those shows because nobody's over there. Nobody's over there telling people the truth of the situation. And so anyway, I do that. But if you see me doing my makeup, that means there's a radio show happening there. From Hannah, thank you for your passion, commitment, and work. Oh, thanks. Oh, you guys, this is so sweet. Thank you very much. Okay, let me get you to some news. It's not good, as per the usual, the news of the week. So let's start with bond hearings. Okay, so you're going to hear news that ICE is going to start denying bond hearings for people who entered the country illegally, and they want people to just stay in detention. First of all, just from a policy perspective, this is ridiculous. Like, we have had a system in place for, I'll start by saying, I don't think this is going to survive federal court challenge. So I'm not super worried about this lasting, but let me back up and say, like, we have a whole bond process. It's similar to in the criminal context where somebody submits an application for release and they say, like, I'm not a danger to the community and I'm not a flight risk. And here's all this evidence about why, like a letter from my boss, my wife's birth certificate, all my kids, like my mortgage statement, proof that I, volunteer in my community. It's like you put this whole packet before a judge who has jurisdiction and authority over this decision, and then they decide who gets a bond. ICE doesn't get to be like, just from now on, we want to detain people indefinitely in these like alligator Alcatraz facilities. So that's what they're claiming. You're going to see that on the news. I don't actually think that it's going to stick, but that's one thing you're going to see. And that just came out in the last 24 hours. We had another TPS cancellation. Reminder, temporary protected status is a status that protects people who are here from a country that has had like some kind of collapse, a political collapse, an infrastructure collapse, a natural disaster. We've seen cancellations for Haiti, Honduras, Venezuela, Nicaragua. Afghanistan just got canceled, which is crazy. These people, the Afghan people who are here were the supporters of the United States when we were over there, like people who supported our military, translated for our military, like kept our soldiers alive and successful. And now we are trying to deport them. We also have another update. We've got increased fees coming down the pike from immigration. So we had in the budget bill that was passed by Congress, it increased funding for enforcement operations. So we're going to see massive, unfortunately, it was like a rubber stamp on what ICE is doing. So we're going to see more detention centers like Alligator Alcatraz, more indefinite detention, more ICE agents. And another thing that it did was increase fees for asylum applications and people in removal proceedings. So someone who's like filing an appeal or a motion to reopen all of a sudden has a fee that they have to pay that they didn't have to pay before. We're also seeing other increased fees coming down the line. So it's just, this does happen periodically, but we just had a fee increase last March. It was a pretty significant one, March of 2024. And so we're not due for another fee increase, but it sounds like that's coming. The way that happens is they have to publish a federal notice in the Federal Register, like it's a regulation. So they publish a notice, a proposed fee increase. Then there's a notice and comment period, like 60 days, and then the new fees go into effect. It's really hard on us immigration lawyers because all of our clients need their cases submitted in this short timeline so they don't have the new fees. So it's like, it's a scramble. So send your immigration lawyers some love when there's a fee increase because we are working hard. We all heard about the protests in California at the farm there. Lots of horrific stuff happened. There was a man who died fleeing the agents. He fell and died. They used chemical weapons like tear gas on people, on the protesters at that farm. And then they rescued children who were being trafficked. Good question, Julie. I'll get to you in a sec, Julie. So this is like, Tom Homan said this in his New York Times Daily interview, which was the worst New York Times Daily podcast episode of all time ever. I still am really mad at the New York Times about this because they just like gave Tom Homan the like junkyard bulldog of a human. You know, like if you imagine some like dumb bulldog at a junkyard that's like just drooling and snarling and going after isn't that Tom Homan? Like I'm imagining him as a cartoon character. Anyway, what was I saying about Tom Homan? And he was saying we're not going to stop raiding farms because there's children that are being trafficked on these farms and we have to rescue these children. But of course, they're raiding farms and rounding up children and putting them in detention centers and deporting them. It's not exactly what somebody who's being trafficked needs. I don't know about y'all. So anyway, this is what they have to tell themselves in order to explain their behavior. I think this is how they don't just like say I'm a horrible person. So they go and there's apparently a handful of teenagers who are working at this farm in the summer. The youngest one is 14 years old. Not, that's legal working age. So I imagine these kids, this is what low income people do in the summer. The teenagers get jobs and they support families. So there were, teenagers working at this farm. Last I checked, they're missing. Nobody knows where they are. Like they were rounded up as part of that raid. And of course, DHS is like, we saved children raiding this horrible farm. No, we're exercising skepticism at DHS claims that they rescued any children. That's not the way you rescue children, by the way. You don't like go raid a farm and use tear gas. All right, let us get to comments. Julie, who are they hiring as agents? So, law enforcement goon types, it's like, I've worked in this field for 20 years and in the ICE agents, there's always like the human guys who are human. Like you can get them on the phone. You can say, oh, this person's got a baby at home or, other compelling factors like work with me. And they make, decisions based on human factors. And you can find those guys in the agency. In the beginning of this Trump administration, there was a local meeting with ICE, like the head ICE agent. And what he was saying was, right, this was like in February, right? And he was saying like, basically, they've allowed us to do whatever we want now. Like you don't run something up the flagpole. Like if you want to go detain somebody, like there's nobody to ask anymore. You just go do. And he was like, but we're waiting on more directives from DC. So we'll see what happens. So I think in the beginning, what happened was like all these agents, these rogue, like enforcement-minded agents were going out and being bad actors. But overall, like the local field offices were sort of being kept in check by the supervisors over the local field office. So you would see like, oh, in this region, there's not really raids. They're not going into the schools. They're not going into the churches. Like it's reasonable. Then what happened, like, I don't know exactly when, I would say probably like April is when the heat started coming down from Washington, where they started directing all the supervisors, like, no, you must be aggressive. Like, you guys got to go and get all these people. And that's when you start to see just like the fire of the nastiness start in all sectors of the agency. But this is something I was saying in this radio interview is like ICE agents. I don't know if any ICE agents ever watch my stuff. Y'all need to quit your jobs. Like, get out. You are committing human rights abuses. If you find yourself in a job where you literally have to like cover your entire face, because if you don't, people will dox you or throw things at you because what you're doing is so gross. I don't know, maybe an indication that what you're doing needs to stop as opposed to you just need to hide your face. But, there were trials after World War II in Nazi Germany, and the soldiers, the workers at the concentration camps were prosecuted for human rights abuses. And there will come a reckoning for what is happening now. I don't know when it's going to be. It's going to happen. And so I hope that all the people in the agency understand I'm following orders is not an excuse. It wasn't an excuse for the Nazis, and it's not going to be an excuse for you either. So get out, become a whistleblower, come into the good side. Over here, it's a lot better. I mean, we're maybe losing the battle right at this moment, but it's a lot nicer over here. We're a lot nicer to each other. I recommend you join this side. Okay, let's get to some of your comments. Okay, immigration judge firing. Oh, wait, you know what? Let me go back up. There's a whole lot more. Okay. Who are they hiring as agents? I'll try and go faster. Thank you so much for what you do. Oh, thank you. I like your name, Embracing the Special. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Thank you. You too. I hope everybody's having a good day. Please keep speaking out. There needs to be more like you. All of us do. Like, we cannot get silent. We cannot get accustomed to this stuff. We have got to eyes on El Salvador, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, Mahmoud Khalil, third country removals, all this stuff, alligator Alcatraz. Like, we can't be like, oh, that was last week's news. No, there's still people in alligator Alcatraz who have not seen a lawyer who are suffering in there. Like, all of us got to keep talking about it. Asneth Garcia, my information, I get blocked if I announce a phone number on a live. So the easiest way to reach me is to just DM me. We're doing free consultations virtually right now all over the US. So if you need a consultation or someone needs one, just DM us. The fastest way to get your appointment is to DM the firm. I have you'll see Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch and Lincoln-Goldfinch Law socials. If you DM the firm, the team is they're ready to schedule you. If you DM me, it has to get sent to the team. So it'll happen either way. But just message me if you want, or, Google us and then you can find the phone number. It's easy. What's up with immigration judge firing? They are fired. This is another ridiculosity. They're firing immigration judges, and they're firing them mid-hearing. Judges are. I've now heard of 2 stories where judges are literally in a hearing with an immigrant listening to evidence. I'm sorry. To my team that's putting the questions on the screen, I'm making your job hard because I'm not answering the question on the screen. So apologies. What is that? Yes, this is the one I'm answering. They are firing judges mid-hearing, and they're firing judges who are they have a 2-year probationary period. So they're firing them just before they get out of their probationary period so they can't get sued. And of course, one would say why are they firing judges when there's a backlog in the court system? That's a great question. That's a good question that you asked me that I had in my brain. Okay, more questions. Okay, DACA first time. So the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled SCOTUS said DACA is legal. Fifth Circuit interpreted that. We are able to submit DACA initial applications right now. They're holding the decisions on those. I do think if it were me, if I were eligible for DACA initial, I would prepare and submit my application. It's kind of from an evidentiary perspective, it's a little bit hard because you have to collect physical presence evidence since 2007. So if you were in school, it's easy because you can just do your transcripts. If you weren't in school, it's harder to prove physical presence because you need a piece of evidence in the US from like at least once every 3 months, ideally even monthly. So if you're eligible for DACA initial, I would say go ahead and get it ready and file it so that you just have that pending. I don't think DACA is going to go away. DACA in Texas is at risk, especially the work permits. So we'll be talking to you guys about that. We're in a holding pattern right now. The Fifth Circuit agreed with Attorney General Ken Paxton, who argued that Texas should not have to issue work permits to Dreamers in Texas because the state would be harmed by having to issue driver's licenses. That was Ken Paxton's argument. So I think you could reach out to his office and tell him you don't agree with his argument. And we're waiting to see. Judge Hainan is the lower federal judge. He's interpreting the Fifth Circuit's decision. So we're in this wait time between the Fifth Circuit and it goes back down to Judge Hainan. And so I don't know. There's still some hope that maybe Texas will reverse its position. Call your legislators. Call Greg Abbott. Call Kim Paxton. Tell them we want Dreamers to have work permits in Texas. Miguel, what breaks my heart is seeing Latinos oppressing their own. Me too. Like the quintessential closing the door behind you, like getting on the lifeboat, shoving the other people back down in the water. That kind of behavior is abhorrent. Anybody, but especially people who are 1 or 2 generations in the country who are okay with what's happening. It's especially upsetting. You think about like Marco Rubio, his grandfather was undocumented in the United States as a Cuban refugee. So it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad when you see that. I'm grateful that your vocals work so hard for the vulnerable. Thank you. Thanks, Rock Faith. Asneth, my husband is at ICE location in Taylor. Okay, good to know. Taylor, the facility in Taylor is called Hutto. I know a lot about this facility. It's where I got my start as a lawyer. It's named after T. Don Hutto, who's the founder of the Corrections Corporation of America. It's a private prison company that has shareholders who profit off of the detention of people. It's now called CoreCivic. It's a facility that houses about 500 people. And it's full, just like all the other facilities. So, Asneth, my detention team is really good. We have 2 lawyers and 1 paralegal on that team who do our detained cases. They're really knowledgeable and expert. So you'll be in good hands with that crew. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that your husband is detained there. I'm a student. I have a student visa. I'm working with OPT, but it's about to expire. Okay, then we should consult. If your company is not petitioning for you, you want to talk to them about it. Maybe the company that you work for has an immigration attorney already, and they want to do some sort of employment visa for you. If not, reach out and we'll see if there's something that we can do to help you. Thank you. Okay, this one's in Spanish. I'll read it in Spanish and then answer it again in English. Mi hija nació aquí, cumplió 21 años. Yo entré legal. Tengo DWI. El febrero pasado ya pagué todo. ¿Hay esperanza o no? Sí, todavía puede arreglar con DWI. So ahora es tiempo para arreglar. Si ella ya ha cumplido 21 años, tenemos que actuar pronto porque hay una ley pendiente en el Congreso para bloquear elegibilidad para personas con DWI. Pienso que eso no va a pasar, pero todavía sería buena idea aplicarlo lo más pronto que sea posible. The question is, I entered legally. My daughter's 21 years old. I got a DWI in February. Can I still get legal status? And the answer to that question is yes. Right now you can. If you entered legally, your child's 21, you can adjust status. There's no prohibition for someone who has a DWI. Right now, there is a pending law in Congress. It's with the Senate. They don't have enough votes to get it over a filibuster, so it's probably not going to go anywhere. But, the fact that it made it through the House means that this is like on the radar of Congress. And so I think if you have a DWI and you have eligibility to apply for legal status, definitely do it sooner rather than later, just in case something comes down the pike that blocks your eligibility. Diamond Face. I love these names. I stopped by yesterday, was hoping to see you or meet you. Your team is awesome. Oh, I'm sorry I missed you. I'm in Dallas doing a thing with LULAC. So I'm sorry I wasn't there, but I agree. Our team is really great. We just had our 10th anniversary and we had like a community party and a client party and a team party. And I'm just like so still riding that wave of gratitude for this amazing team and the work that they all do. They love the mission and the clients so much. Like it's just such a special, talented group of people that have come together to do this work for immigrants. And it's such an honor for me to work with the team that I do. So thank you for saying that. I agree. Hi, Kate. This is Melanie. Hey, Melanie. Our friend Melanie is always here. Nassau County, Long Island, not now allowing police and local law enforcement to wear masks. Is now allowing or not allowing? Because there's some jurisdictions that are blocking it. California, somewhere in New York. So I think maybe they're not allowing it. Maybe you can clarify. It's like the mask stuff and the plain clothes and there's vigilantes out there that are acting like they're agents. Like, what do you expect? The whole business of like, how do you respond to a plain clothes agent? It's a tricky one. But I think I would not cooperate with an arrest unless I was able to confirm the identity of the officer. That's what I can say. I can speak for myself. Muchas gracias, Miguel Pama. Estudio diario. Uso Duolingo y estoy aprendiendo siempre. Mi español está mejorando poco a poco. Pero gracias. I have a 19-year-old daughter. Can she start a process to help me with my status? Not until she turns 21. Your U.S. citizen child cannot petition for you until they are 21 years of age. But we should go ahead and consult now. There's other things, right? There's family-based options, employment options, humanitarian options for victims of crime, trafficking, other things like that. So let's consult and not just wait 2 years. I don't want to see you just wait 2 years thinking that getting status through your daughter is the only thing out there. Okay. Free consultations virtually, no reason not to reach out. Everything's confidential when you talk to any lawyer. That is a rule of our ethics that we maintain confidentiality. It's like HIPAA with doctors, it's private. So anything you tell us stays with us. Okay. Oz on TikTok, I'm getting married in August. My husband is very nervous about the marriage interview. Understood. Yeah. I mean, I would, they're not doing a ton of arrests at USCIS right now. We're only seeing people who have like warrants out for their arrests or criminal issues are getting detained at USCIS. But I do think everybody who's going to an interview should have a lawyer present at the interview. Even if you've got simple citizenship case, what have you, just bring a lawyer with you. So Oz, if you guys don't already have a lawyer, let us know. And we do. We have been hired by people who want a lawyer to accompany them, and we'll review, make sure everything's ready, get you ready for your interview and go with you. They are allowing masks on Long Island, Melanie. Great. I mean, again, I just think if a masked person came up to me and said, get down on your knees, I would say, excuse me, who are you? Show me your badge. I don't know. We used to be able to just do rights presentations like, these are your rights. Probable cause is required for an arrest, and you have the right to remain silent and all that stuff. And now we know that the Trump administration violates people's rights. So it makes giving know your rights information a little bit more complicated. My green card is about to expire, but I'm outside of the US due to a family emergency. Can I renew it from abroad? Yes, you can. We can help you. Give us a DM. You will have an appointment at the US Embassy or Consulate where you are. We can help you get that going. Jesse Kraft, TikTok. My husband came from Guatemala 2 years ago for asylum, but didn't file. What do we do now? Let's consult Jesse because asylum might be the best option for him. Well, it would be withholding of removal since it's been longer than a year. But maybe, I don't know what your status is. Maybe there's a way to do something through you. Let's chat. There's various options, and we can, I'm almost at time anyway, but also to maintain your privacy, we can have a free consultation to discuss what we can do. But you can still file an asylum application after a year. Hello, I have a green card, but I have a deportation order. I report every 6 months. My daughter filed a petition for me about 2 years ago, but I haven't received any response yet. Something's not lining up with that because you won't have a green card and a deportation order, or you shouldn't. And you shouldn't have a report. So can we meet and look at your status? I want to confirm everything. And if you did get approved for a green card, then we can essentially reopen and erase a removal order. So we can help you with that. Sally de Hoyos, the income requirement to petition someone, does that still apply to a disabled veteran? It does. There's no exception to that requirement, but it's real easy to get around with a co-sponsor. So if you're petitioning someone and you're earning less than 125% of the federal poverty guidelines, it's like $25,000 a year for a family of two, then you need a co-sponsor. It could be anybody. It could be another friend, a relative, anybody that has a green card or citizenship can be a co-sponsor. We have, I don't know the percentage, but at one point, like almost half of our clients had co-sponsors in their cases. It's really, really common, not a problem. Okay, let's do the last question here. Visa T visa application was sent in February, no receipt yet. Is that normal? It's not super abnormal. It's not normal, but it's not super abnormal. Like 3 to 4 months, is good. So Pecan Sandies, I don't know if you are our client. If you are, reach out to your team and we can check the bank account for a receipt number, even if we didn't get a receipt. If you're not our client, then you might be able to see on your check, like on the back of your processed check, if you paid by check, or on your credit card statement, what the receipt number is. Okay, last question from Meredith Burke. Do you have advice for keeping construction workers safe on job sites in Texas? Well, here's what I'll say. Because Greg Abbott is so supportive of the Trump administration, Texas so far has not been a super big target for raids like California is, for example. So we're not seeing massive wide-scale raids in Texas. That doesn't mean that they're not happening and that enforcement actions are not occurring on construction sites. I would make sure that everybody who's working the site knows their rights. The people who are in legal status have proof of that on them, like they carry their green card with them. Everybody has a lawyer, and that the job boss for the site has a direct line to a lawyer that they can call if ICE shows up. And then with any business, you want to have a private area clearly marked, separate from a public area, where it's like a house. The police can't come into somebody's house without permission or a warrant. It's the same thing in a business, where if there's a private area of a business, ICE can't come in without permission or a warrant. So I want to make sure to mark private areas clearly. Okay, with that, I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to give you guys your action tip of the week because, we're trying to think of ways we can continue. The biggest thing is to be talking about this stuff. Don't get desensitized to the horrors of what's going on. Keep raising your voices. The action tip of the week is to talk to a friend or loved one, someone you know is an immigrant, someone you know whose parent is an immigrant, or maybe grandparents, and have a conversation around their migration story. Why did they come? How did they come? What was it like? What work did they do when they got here? Start normalizing and talking about these conversations. Write a piece on your social media about your own migration story. Let's just amplify some stories of bravery that we admire and we inspire to be like people like this. So thanks everybody for all your questions. Thanks for being here with me. Nos vemos el jueves en español para contestar sus preguntas. Bye bye.